Actually, today is actually our final episode of Mindset Monday. Like over these last months, every Monday, not only have I been showing up, but you've been showing up to take in this really important and I think valuable content around how we set our minds. And so, what I want to do today, just kind of commemorate this being our last episode, is I want to just kind of walk through some of the great things that we have learned and discerned over these last months together. Now, some of you are wondering, like, why is this the last episode? Why are we going? What's happening next? And I'm going to get to that before we wrap up today's session. Okay. I do have some exciting news as we launch into something I think is going to be uh, equally beneficial. I think, for many cases, I pause there because I think more beneficial in the way that we focus our time and attention around this work that we are doing. So, the idea of mindset. If you've been joining us, maybe today is your first day checking in with Mindset Monday, or maybe you've been tracking with us for months, every Monday, consistently showing up. Mindset is significant to our health and well being. Let me just share with you, or in many cases, for some of you, remind you of the benefits of this work. First of all, mindset is not so much about what we think, but rather it's about how we think, right? The way that we frame challenges and struggles, the way that we interpret our emotions, and then the way that we allow those thoughts and those feelings to show up in our actions and our behaviors and the way that we interact with others. In fact, a lot of this frame work we've used in this mindset focus has been around what we call CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy really focuses in on this kind of sequence and this cycle, which is situations lead to thoughts, thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to behaviors. Okay, that's the kind of the uh, sequence of this journey. Situations lead to thoughts, thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to behaviors. But we also see in the same way that it's secular. So when this plays out, our thoughts influence our feelings show up as behaviors, and then oftentimes those behaviors end up fueling a cycle of what thoughts comes next, and how the feelings follow, and how we sort of cope in response in ways of behavior, which fuels us back again to it creates new situations, in which cases we reinforce or we embed thoughts, and it turns to more feelings, and it shows up in more behaviors. And so I think it's really important that we think about this in the work that we're doing in mindset, informed by lots of things. But again, part of this is foundation of CBT, thoughts, feelings, and behavior. So when we think about this really important work of mindset in that sequence I just talked about starts with the thought, right? If we can shift our thinking, we can shift our experience in the same way with mindset. So mindset has these amazing benefits to it, like it reduces anxiety, reduces emotional reactivity, it increases focus in our lives, it allows us to follow through, and we end up having healthier relationships as a result of it. We're able to set better and stronger and more clear boundaries. It instills greater hope. We have more resilience, and we find more purpose. I mean, that's just a short list of all the things that are beneficial when we can get into healthy mindset. So I want to kind of go back and review some of the highlights that we've done over these last few months and kind of focus in with some helpful reinforcements. So let's revisit again some of these powerful mindset shifts. So the first one, this is going back many episodes, was this idea, this shift from survival to stability. And what that is if we can make this shift, if we can build emotional safety, right? To be able to say, like, right here, right now, I'm safe. I'm showing up with myself. I'm showing up with other people. And what emotional safety does, right, allows us to be able to say, hey, I'm safe with my own thoughts and my own feelings. And in my relationships, I'm able to share those thoughts, those feelings with others. And in a way, I'm shifting from again, survival to stability. What happens in that work is we're reminding ourselves this connection of mind, body, and soul, right? We're telling ourselves in that safe space, I'm okay, I'm safe right here, right now. Allow ourselves to take a deep breath. We're shifting out of that constant and fluctuating state of fight or flight. Now, there's much more to that. We don't have time to get into the depths of it today, but just go back and look at our previous episodes, dig into the content that we have developed for you, whether it's been in our live streams or whether it's been in our challenges and our courses, right? And you're going to reap and find more of the benefits about how when we take a deep breath, we can remind ourselves that we're safe with ourselves and with others, emotionally, relationally, right? We can make this shift from survival to stability. Another one that we've talked about many times is this shift from motivation to mental fortitude. Motivation is something we constantly are trying to conjure up. It's around this idea of like, if inspiration, like if I could just be more inspired, right? If I could just be more motivated. The way that that mindset works, or lack of mindset, is that we're constantly just jumping from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, constantly seeking more inspiration, more motivation to keep us moving and to keep us going. Right now, although that's helpful, and I think it's really important that we seek motivation and we find inspiration. There's actually something more. There's something better for us in a mindset, and it is the mindset of mental fortitude. Mental fortitude is the slow and steady, the predictable daily practice of resilience, right? It's not dependent on do I feel motivated today? No, it's part of this resilience that we have. In fact, we've talked about this way of like pre-decision. We've already decided how I'm going to show up for myself today. I've already decided how I'm going to make choices, what choices I'm going to make, and how they're going to play out in my life, right? So this significant shift from motivation, right, which is I often need some kind of external thing to happen in my life, right, to mental fortitude, which is this thought, and as I mentioned, this decision, right, in advance of how I'm gonna walk it out, live it out, practice it with everyday resilience. We've talked about this shift from limited beliefs to identity. So when we think about this from this way, you don't rise and you don't fall on setting your goals or reaching your goals. It's not about just this progressive. I have to set a goal and meet a goal and set a goal and meet a goal and set a goal and meet a goal. No, no, no. It's really around this idea of what kind of person am I, and then I'm just going to choose to live in that. I'm going to choose to walk in that. To be a simple example of that, I'm a person who takes my physical health seriously. Okay. So if that's my mindset shift, right, it's the identity, it's part of who I am. I'm a healthy person who takes seriously in my physical health. So I'm just going to do what healthy people do. So I'm going to drink, I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to close the rings on my device. I'm going to make sure that I get exercise a certain number of days. I'm going to make sure that I get to bed at a certain time. I'm going to make sure that I eat 3 healthy meals and make sure that I'm not having a midnight snack or a dessert before bed every night or whatever it might be. Right, when we can shift from just goal setting and reaching goals and goal setting and reaching goals, which is important and it does matter, but it falls short from this shift to be able to say, who am I? What is the type of person that I want to be? And how am I going to live that out? Or how about this one? This idea from an outcome based obsession to a process focus. We've talked several times about this shift in our lives, right? In fact, we just talked about it recently in an episode when we talked about visualization, right? We learned that mental rehearsal is not just about the win, but it's about the process that takes us there. So rather than just saying fixated or focused on the win, right? This is that idea of like outcome obsession. We're going to choose to make a mindset shift towards process. And it's simply this idea: if I just follow my process, slow and steady wins the race, follow through consistently, the wins, the outcomes, those simply just are a byproduct. Because the real work here is not the outcome, the real work is the process. And then how about this last one? Moving from reaction to reflection, right? Or we might call it response, moving from reaction to reflection. So we explored this idea of just hitting the pause button, right? Like when we get worked up, when we're able to pay attention, when we're able to be mindful about what's happening inside of us, right? Some thought spurred some emotion, and in that moment, we have a choice to make. Are we going to allow the emotions to take charge and to be in control of us? So we call that an emotional hijack. I love that language because it's so descriptive of what's happening. Or are we going to pause, remind ourselves that we get to choose what happens next? We get to remind ourselves that we are in charge of our emotions rather than our emotions are in charge of us. So, again, it's this shift from reaction to response, or as I mentioned, reaction to reflection. Like we get to respond with clarity, with compassion, right? Which is far better than responding in a state of chaos. There's the few I mentioned are just, man, there's so many more that we could talk about. If you haven't had a chance to go through and watch our Mindset Monday episodes, they're on demand. You can find them in our platform. You'll find them on YouTube, wherever you're following us, wherever you're seeing this, right? And you can go back and revisit any of these anytime. Okay, so I want to share with you a little bit about where are we going from here. So we've decided in the midst of the work that we're doing here with Live Well Coaching to take an additional step, which is going to allow us to focus in 5 specific areas. And we want to invite you on this journey with us. We're actually going to kick this off next week. So in addition to mindset, we're going to talk about our emotions, our habits, how they're constantly adapting. So when we look at these 5 areas, here's what they are. We're going to talk about anxiety. We're going to talk about addiction. We're going to talk about depression. We're going to talk about pain reprocessing. We're going to talk about relational health. And when we focus in on these, here's how it's going to play out for us going forward. Every week, one day of the week, we're going to focus in on one area, and we're going to drip content for you in the same day every week on that topic. Let me give you an example. So Monday is anxiety. Every Monday, we're going to drip content for you around how to deal with, cope with, respond to anxiety. What are helpful tips? What are the tools that you need for yourself? Or maybe it's for someone else in your life if you're supporting them in what we call co-regulating, somebody else who might be experiencing anxiety. Every Monday, right? If this is that example of anxiety, we're going to drip content for Monday. And then take Tuesday. Tuesday, it might be depression, or Wednesday, it might be relational health. Thursday might be pain reprocessing. Friday might be addiction. We're going to put out the schedule and you'll be able to see it. So every week, the same day, you'll go to be able to kind of think of these as like tracks, right? We'll have these 5 different tracks. So you'll be able to work in, consume this content and learn and grow through these 5 different areas. In addition to that, we're really excited. We're actually going to start be doing monthly live events. So like we've been streaming these live every week, we're going to shift that now to a more community focus. So we'll be able to interact more readily with you and with others and be able to build a stronger sense of community as we put out these monthly events, right, that will go live. All right, so there's more to come. I encourage you to just stay with us. So we're going to send out emails. We're going to post stuff to our platform and let you know how this is going to go forward from here. All right, all of this is designed by the core of Live Well Coaching, right? This idea to help you get healthy, stay healthy, and live well. And from this Mindset Monday, the idea is one mindset shift at a time, right? One choice at a time, one decision at a time, one flip of the script, one reframe at a time. All right, so note this about Mindset Monday. We're not done, right? You're not done. Even though Mindset Monday is going away, this work of mindset, like, man, we've just laid the foundation, right? For you to build a beautiful building on, a beautiful life moving forward in this work. So think about it that way, right? Think about it that it's not over, it's not done, right? We've just laid the foundation for the work that you're going to continue to do with mindset. As always, reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. If you want to email us, it's coaching@livewellbehaviorhealth.com. You can put a comment here. You can reach out to us through the platform. You can find our information there. So, again, if we can support you, if we can help you, or if you've got ideas, again, we would love to hear from you. Stay up on our content with our challenges, with our courses, again, all available on the web version of our coaching platform or in our app. So it's a great reminder. If you don't yet have the Live Well app, find it in the App Store. It's a great, just easy way to navigate the Live Well coaching platform. All right, everybody, have an incredible week. Dr. Mike will be with us on Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday, and I'll be back to wrap up the live streams on Faithful Friday.